So, lads, today we got to talk about the Arie McDonald situation, and we got to be very, very clear on this. Like this, how the Indiana Fever proceeds with this situation will tell you guys. Like this will show you guys what the Fever's front office is made of. This will show you guys whether this Fever front office care more about the optics than they care about basketball. This will tell you what they're made of, because did they go over and hunt in Europe like the Phoenix Mercury did? No. Like, by the way, the Phoenix Mercury have not had Alyssa Thomas for a lot of this year. Alyssa Thomas has been gone. And look, I don't think Alyssa Thomas is Caitlin Clark, but it's not like it is a crazy, crazy difference just because what Alyssa Thomas is in the defensive end and how she's an engine. This team is 6-4. They're 6-4. And they have had they almost beat the Lynx without Alyssa Thomas. They beat the Sparks without Alyssa Thomas. They beat the Valkyries comfortably without Alyssa Thomas. And they ran the Storm close without Alyssa Thomas. They beat this. Obviously, Alyssa Thomas was there for the Sky game. But like, this is a team that is winning games. And not only that, they lost Alyssa Thomas. They didn't get any major free agents. They got Satu in. They lost Natasha Cloud. It's an entirely new team. So none of this BS about gelling. It's an entirely new team. And it's an organization that's ruthless. It's an organization you can't say, oh, like the Indiana Fever didn't have opportunities, because there are ruthless organizations. The Mercury are ruthless. The Lynx, ruthless. The Liberty, ruthless. All of these teams are cutting players, by the way. All of these teams are willing to cut players. But if the Fever are not willing to cut a player, to bring in a player that will help them win a championship, if they are not willing to cut a player for optics, then it's not a serious organization. It's not a serious front office. We might as well have Lynn Dunn out there. We might as well have just got Lynn Dunn 2.0. Because again, this front office in the offseason, could they have gone and tried to convince Janelle Salone to come? I mean, I was pushing it. Salone should be number one priority for the Fever over Satu. I was tweeting this out in December. Like, I was tweeting this out. Everyone was hyped on Janelle Salone, and she goes to the Valkyries. Best decision for her, because realistically, would she be getting bench splinters? Would she be getting splinters at the end of the bench? Would she have even made the roster? Would they have even picked her for the roster? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. She's 100 times better than Natasha Howard. And literally, in my videos talking about the Natasha Howard signing, I literally said, I was like, Natasha Howard is the best available signing because it's clear. Basically, I was like, I would rather Salone, but I'm like, Natasha Howard's the best available signing in terms of like big name free agents. No one thought they were going to Dewana Bonner. Let's be real. It was like an off chance they got Dewana Bonner. There was conversations of that. And I like genuinely, if they didn't get Bonner, I would have really liked the Natasha Howard signing. If they didn't get Natasha Howard, I would really like the Bonner signing. And then the Coulson signing, if they had have actually, like, I was genuinely, I was just like, if you were asking me quite, like, not too long ago, with the Coulson thing, around the draft, I was like, look, the team needs another point guard. I'm like, they need another point guard, and I lost my mind when they ended up going to 11 players, because I'm like, it means Coulson's the only backup point guard. And that's the reason why I'm so annoyed at the 11 players. But the Fever can undo everything. The Fever can make two choices to undo every bad decision they made in the offseason. And by the way, there are some hindsight bad decisions. Like, obviously, signing all the old players is a hindsight bad decision. The Bree Turner is a hindsight bad decision. But as a front office, we can see what this front office is made of. Because, by the way, I get it. The WNBA is a league that has almost been, in terms of the league itself, a participation trophy league. But it's a serious sports league right now. And if an organization is not willing to treat their team like a serious sports team, they're never going to win. You're never going to win. Absolutely never, ever, ever going to win. So, I'm being honest. The Indiana Fever have to, first of all, like, if you guys don't know, Arie McDonald, this is how Arie McDonald does not have to wait the 10-day period. This is what needs to happen. Because assuming one of Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham are back for the game at the weekend, assuming one of them are going to be back, they play today, Tuesday, and then they play on Saturday. So what you have to do to allow Arie McDonald to sign for that game for the rest of the season, you cut Bree Turner. You cut Bree Turner Wednesday morning. It takes her 48 hours to clear waivers. And as soon as she clears waivers in 48 hours, you are allowed to sign Arie McDonald. You can have her signed up for the rest of the season. And then you're going to be like, oh, but what about the games that Dantas misses? First of all, play Michaela Timpson. You can afford to play Michaela Timpson a few minutes. Like, she's not just there to sit there. She can play a few minutes. Let's be real. She can play a couple of minutes. No matter how bad she is, she's not worse than Bree Turner. She's not worse than Bree Turner. And if you guys don't know, AmeriCup. When is AmeriCup? So AmeriCup is the end of June to start of July. So basically, AmeriCup ends right at the time, or starts right when Eurobasket ends. And that's in and around the time the Fever can get in an extra player. AmeriCup starts right when Eurobasket ends. So what the Indiana Fever can do is 2025 Eurobasket. You watch. You watch 2025 Eurobasket. And maybe you keep watching AmeriCup at some stage because every contract is prorated at this stage and non-guaranteed. So you're watching Eurobasket. You're seeing what players are killing it, what players are available. Starts in 7 days. You're looking at the French team. The French team who have like Valerie Ayayi. Like if you look again, their roster is not 100%. What am I going to say? Rising stars to watch at Eurobasket. Heck, maybe you can get a rising star in. Jusei Jacite, Iana Martin, who is, to be fair, she's not in the draft till next year. Is Awafan playing? Claessens is like legit. I know how young she is. She is legit. Did a team sign someone who has her rights? Who has her rights? I know she was taken in the draft. Somebody has her rights. The Mystics have her rights. Of course the Mystics do. Aisha Sivka. Like, there are young players. Awafam could be a demon. There are young players you can not only look for next year to bring in as a stash player, but you can look in at some of the older players, like someone like Francis Valerie Ayayi. Somebody like you never know. Like, I think a Kiara Linskins could fit as an Leah Boston backup just because of her passing ability, who's just been waived by the Valkyries. I don't think Kiara Linskins ain't spectacular. She can fit. If you somehow are able to convince Emma Messerman to come over, you play her at the 4 beside Leah Boston. Like, that is a championship level move, but I just don't understand why she wouldn't go to the Mercury. If you need a backup point guard, like Clara Lundqvist could work as a backup point guard, but the Mercury have her rights. But the reality of the situation is that there are bigs in this tournament competition that can hoop. So while Dantas goes, you can go and sign a big. You can sign a big from Eurobasket. You don't need to worry about it. You can keep Arie McDonald for the season. If you're keeping Bree Turner because of 4 games Dantas is missing in a month, you can get rid of Bree Turner, you can sign Arie McDonald, and then in a month's time, if you really want Bree Turner, you can bring her back in a month's time. Or you can do what people should do, or what a team should do, and just bring in a better big from Europe. There are some players that are there. Badian's a better player than Bree Turner. I think offensively, like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Offensively, Kiara Linskins is better. Is going to be a better fit. Again, I don't think defensively Kiara Linskins is great, and Dantas isn't much of a defender, but like, there are so many better players that the Indiana Fever can bring in. You can try, like the Golden State Valkyries of Ileana Rupert. Maybe you can give up a 2nd round pick for Ileana Rupert. Maybe you can do what the Liberty do and maybe take players that are just kind of on the fringes of teams and give up 2nd round picks that aren't going to amount to anything to get these players. Maybe you can do that. But yeah, it's a really, really interesting thing when it comes to when it comes to the Fever. But this whole thing will show whether or not this Fever organization should be taken seriously. And look, they're always going to be a decent team. You don't necessarily need a serious organization to win a chip, but it just puts you at a serious disadvantage. And all of this talk, all this now you know stuff with the assumption that this team was going to start dominating. Like, they wrote a lot of checks. This organization wrote a lot of checks to Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston are having to cash. And they have not set them up in the greatest position. Look, they haven't pulled the wings. They're not the worst organization in the WNBA by any means. They haven't pulled the sky. Not even close to being the worst organization in the WNBA. But if you want to be one of the top organizations, you either have to be ruthless and scout ruthlessly like the Liberty and the Lynx, or you have to have a complete disregard for the rules of the league like the Las Vegas Aces. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys.